Hello. I am so excited for this video. We're doing another 24-hour reading challenge, and we're going to complete it this time. Shout out to my boyfriend for the mini microphone. I am starting this challenge at 6 p.m. I did in fact sleep all day pretty much. It is 5:45 right on the dot. I wanted to film this intro to prepare all of the books that I would like to read during this video. For starters, I am currently reading Jane Eyre. I wanted to finish it before this video, but that just didn't happen. So, Jane Eyre is a book I might be picking up. Not sure, but let's just get started. The first book that I know I am going to be reading is The Same Backward as Forward by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is the 8th book within the series. It's part of the spin-off series. And we're following our main character's mom, I believe, so I'm so excited. So this is the first book that I'm adding to the stack. Also, it has sprayed edges that are pretty cool. So that's the first book. It is mostly romance, I believe. There's some mystery involved in it, but that's that. Then I was thinking I need a book that is going to get me through the night. So it needs to be a book that I know I'm going to enjoy. So I will be reading, Wool by Hugh Howey. This is a book, a part of the Silo trilogy. It's the first book, obviously. And I read it many years ago, probably 4 years ago, if not even longer ago. And I know that I love this series. I enjoyed it so much. So this, I think, is a book that could really get me through the night if I am struggling to stay awake. But we do have energy drinks. We do have energy drinks for that. So this is a book that's also going on the list, which I am so excited to reread. So excited. Then I thought, let me just think of some more fun books, because I'm going to need some exciting things, you know? So, I thought Never by Jessa Hastings. This could be a fun one, although it is also romance, which the first book that I chose, The Same Backward as Forward, is also mostly romance, so I'm not sure if I'll be in a romance mood, but this book I think is going to be strange, and that's what I'm going to want, I think. So then, this next book that I was thinking of picking, obviously I'm not keeping myself to this TBR, because if it's 3 in the morning and I'm like, no, I'm not reading this book, then I'm going to pick a different book. But this next book I want to read, but I might not read it during the night, because it is a thriller, and that is Behind Her Eyes by Sarah Pinborough. I have no idea what this book is about. I got it for Christmas, but I know that it is a thriller. Stephen King says that it's brilliant, so there's that. I have no idea how many books I'm going to be reading in this challenge. My goal for 2026 is to read mindfully and comprehend and remember the things that I'm reading, because I struggled with that in 2025. But that means that I'm not going to be trying to read as many books as possible in this video. I want to still remember what's happening in the books, but I think that I can read at least 3. Although the books that I've picked so far are huge. So this bottom shelf here is my shelf of books that I have not read. This whole side here, I most likely won't be reading from. It's general fiction and it's nonfiction, which are not really books that are going to keep me up. You know, maybe it'll be a good palate cleanser, but yeah, I don't think so. This side, on the other hand, fantasy, mystery, romance, etc. The exciting stuff. So another book that I thought I could read is Vengeful by V.E. Schwab. This is the second book in the, I I don't know if it's just the Vicious duology, but the first book is Vicious, and I think that I remember enough of Vicious to read this book. All these books that I'm picking are big. This one's over 400 pages. But this book I also think will be really exciting, and I've been wanting to read it for a while. I'm only going to put one more book on this list, but that book is Crown of Midnight by Sarah J. Maas. This is the second book in the Throne of Glass series, and I've only read Throne of Glass so far. So I would love to pick up this book. So this is another book we'll be adding. Once again, I am not going to be sticking 100% to this TBR. These are books that I absolutely would love to get to, but I don't have to. And can you even see this pile right here? How exciting. I'm so excited for this challenge. So I don't actually know if I've ever posted a 24-hour reading challenge, because I've never properly completed one, meaning that I've never actually stayed up for 24 hours to read. But I prepared very well. I slept for a long time. I woke up, did a little bit of stuff that I had to do, and I went back to bed. So I'm prepared. I have slept. I was just interrupted by my brother, and he now knows that I have a YouTube channel, so that's great. But what was I talking about? I'm a little embarrassed. I'm prepared. I slept, and I have energy drinks, which my favorite are Alani's, but for some reason they have been tasting weird recently. And they're not expired. They don't expire for another year, over a year. Anyway, it's now, we have to start in 6 minutes, so I gotta get ready. Let's just take a minute here. I wish this isn't a real microphone. It's 3D printed. But I wish I could hear like the... It's good. It's good. I'm so excited to read. I'm so excited to read. It is 6 o'clock. We are starting this challenge. I'm so excited. Should I start on the purple side or the blue side? Probably the purple side. So far, this book is the exact same story as like the first story in Games Untold. Like the exact same. So hopefully it doesn't continue like that. Like word for word. I'll compare it later or something though. Okay, so I'm 16 minutes in. I don't know if you can see that. And I've read 3 chapters. I'm on page 18. Is the same backward as forward. Literally just Games Untold. The first story of Games Untold. Because do I want to read it again? It's it's word for word. From what I remember. I'm gonna keep reading, but how many pages is this first story? 189 pages. And then I guess Toby's story is, oh, that was acknowledgements. 188 pages, so it's the same pretty much. I don't know. I mean, like, it's good, but so far I know all of this stuff, you know? because I know that plenty of people think that this series is a money grab, kind of, the spin-off series at least, but I personally love all of the books so far. The first 3 books in the series, love them. All of the books in the spin-off series, love them. This book, oh, where is it? This book and Games Untold are part of a, oh no, I guess they're the same series, but if this is the exact same as Games Untold, it's a money grab, and I'm disappointed if that's the case, but we'll find out. We have completed the first hour of the 24-hour reading challenge. Yeah, we've completed the first hour. I'm on about to start chapter 17, okay? Page 72 I just completed. That's how far into the book we are. Which means I'm reading pretty quick, which is lovely. Still, the exact same story as Games Untold. Now, the thing is, Games Untold, which is the book kind of right before this one, I guess, has multiple short stories in it, and not all of them are about Hannah and Toby. This is just Hannah's perspective, and then the other side is Toby's perspective. So, I believe it was the first story in Games Untold was from Hannah's perspective. So that's what I'm reading right now, the exact same thing. Like they just copied and pasted it and put it in here. Later, probably after I finish the book, I'll check and see if it's actually word for word, but I don't remember if there was a Toby POV in Games Untold, so hopefully that will be different. There could have been a Toby POV in Games Untold, and I'm just not remembering it because I have the world's worst memory, which is my favorite thing ever. But I'm still enjoying it, and the more emotional parts of this book are getting to me more because I've already read it and because I know the characters, if you know what I mean. For instance, the first time I read it in Games Untold, it was like, oh, that's sad. That's unfortunate. But this time it's like a little bit getting to me more. I'm not crying, obviously, but it's like, oh, I could shed a tear. But, yeah. The sad scenes don't last long enough for that to happen. But I'm enjoying it. But it's like rereading the same book. But I did like the book, so that's all I have to say. So I'm going to continue to read. We're almost halfway through the first section of the book. I'm excited to keep reading. I love my Alani. Also, I need to readjust my pillows here. I don't know if you can see them, but they're kind of wonky. And I want to lean against this wall. Let's keep reading. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling fantastic. You can tell, but I'm bawling my eyes out. We are almost 3 hours into the challenge, and I just finished reading the first half of The Same Backward as Forward, which was Hannah's POV, and I did discover that on the verso of the title page, it says that Hannah's perspective was originally published as the story The Same Backward as Forward in Games Untold, which I thought was the truth. So that does prove that I did in fact read a story that I've already read before, but I did in fact bawl my eyes out anyway, which if I continue to do so will in fact make me more tired. So I think that for my next read, I'm going to read still Toby's perspective because duh. But I think for my next read, I won't read Never or Wool. I think it's possible that those books will make me sleepy, so I think that I might read Vengeful or Behind Her Eyes next. But I did decide to start annotating this book, but I'm just using tabs. They're very similar colors to the book, which is very fun, so you can barely see them in here. But I'm going to go take a pee break and grab a snack, I think, and then we will continue to read. Also, I don't know if I mentioned, but we're doing the method where I read from 6 p.m. until 6 p.m. That's the time I decided. But this is just here to let you know that this is how many hours into the challenge we are. But I'm not pausing it when I'm not reading, obviously. I think, for me, that is the most fun version of the challenge that I like to watch. So that's what we're doing. But I'm gonna go pee and get a snack. I'm just under halfway through this energy drink. Probably about here. It's so good. So we're almost at hour 4. Almost at hour 4. I have started the second half of The Same Backward as Forward. I am on page 44, about to start chapter 10 of Toby's point of view. There's 188 pages, so I've got about 140 something. I don't even remember what page I just said I'm on. I've got some pages left, so that will probably take me 2 more hours, so by the 6-hour mark, I will have finished 1 book, which means that I should be able to finish 4 books if I read at the same pace the whole time, right? But I think that perhaps I am reading this one faster because I've read it before. That being said, it's snack time. I decided that I need to record right now because I know that I'm about to bawl my eyes out. Just past 6 hours and I just finished this book. My hand is literally wet with tears. I am a shell of a human being. I am going to put myself back together, read Behind Her Eyes, even though it is like, what time is it? 12:07 a.m. I think I'm gonna read. I'm gonna read. I think I'm gonna read Behind Her Eyes. It is 1:29 a.m. I was feeling a little sleepy, so I've opened another energy drink. I've changed spots, and I'm going to eat toast with peanut butter. I've started Behind Her Eyes. I'm definitely reading this slower. I'm only on page 44 and I've been reading it at least an hour. But I shall continue. This is a thriller. So far, it's not thrilling. We'll get there, but it's fairly mundane at the moment. But I shall keep reading. So, it is just about 3 a.m. We are almost 9 hours into the challenge. I have just passed the 100-page mark of Behind Her Eyes, and I have 202 pages left in the book. I'm hoping to finish this before we hit the 12-hour mark, which should be doable. I have been feeling a little bit sleepy, so I just did some stretches and have been drinking my energy drink. Book-wise, we still haven't gotten anything thrilling. Okay, so pretty much this book, we follow two main characters. Our first main character is Louise, who is a single mom. She works at kind of a doctor's office, like a psychiatrist's office, as just a secretary. And then the other main character that we follow, her name is Adele, and she's married to David, who Louise met at a bar one night, and then he ends up being her boss. And then Adele and Louise kind of strike up this friendship, and it's super strange, and Louise starts noticing weird things about David and Adele's marriage and how he's controlling and stuff. And then Louise and David's relationship also progresses. So we haven't really got anything thrilling. We're seeing the weird things between the marriage, like the controlling nature and the toxicity, kind of, but nothing thrilling so far. There are definitely things where I'm like, I'm sorry, like, what did you just say? But nothing thrilling. It's definitely more a psychological thriller, I think, than a someone's watching you kind of thriller. Take that with a grain of salt if you've read it, but I'm going to continue reading. I think I'm going to stand up and read for a little bit so I don't continue to get more tired, but I think once I hit like the 4 or 5 a.m. mark, I'll kind of push past the tiredness. We are finally getting some action. I am on chapter 31, page 163. We are almost halfway through. We've got 20 seconds left. I am almost done. I've got less than 80 pages left, so hopefully I'll finish this. Based on my reading pace, it'll be another hour and a half-ish. And that is halfway through this 24-hour reading challenge. I'm feeling tired. It's mostly my eyes. I'm not going to sit in my bed. I will not make that mistake. I think that it's 6 a.m. at the moment. I think at 7 o'clock I'm going to go upstairs and have some breakfast, and I'll probably sit in the living room or the dining room and read. That should keep me awake longer. But my whole body is feeling itchy right now, and I don't know if it's because I'm not sleeping or if it's because of the energy drinks, but it's annoying. But this book is good. It's not shocking yet. I'm not super surprised by any of the events that have happened, but I'm not done. So I'm gonna keep reading. We'll see how it goes. I have a theory. Skip until whatever picture I decide is no longer on the screen. So I'm on page 265, okay? At this point, we're trying to find out what happened to Rob, Adele's friend. And so right now we're in the past tense, and Rob just told Adele to go to bed so that him and David can have some, like, male bonding time. And I think that maybe Rob kills David and then, like, pretends to be David, and then he's, like, manipulating Adele the entire time. You know what I mean? I think that maybe, but that also is, like, coming from a person who, most of the thrillers I've ever read are Frida McFadden, and it's like, these things come out of nowhere. But I think that that's a possibility. Anyway, I'm almost at my 13th hour. I'm almost done this book. I have 35-ish pages left. So I'm gonna keep reading. I'm hungry. I wish I was reading faster. Hopefully whatever book I read next will be a faster read. Or, like, I'll be reading at a faster pace at least. But let's keep reading. Okay, another guess at what's happening. So I'm reading that after right now. I'm on page 295. Skip until whatever I say. I guarantee you that Adele is in Louise's body, and Louise died in Adele's body in the fire that Adele set. Yup. Mic drop. 16 hours into this reading challenge. I have not slept, but I have been slacking, I want to say, for about the past 2 hours. I have continued to read, but I started reading a little bit of Never. I read a couple chapters. Wasn't feeling super into it, so I stopped. Read a couple chapters of Vengeful. Wasn't feeling super into it, and honestly, I probably read a couple pages of Vengeful. Wasn't feeling very into it. I did have breakfast. Did you guys just see that? That was crazy. I have decided on Crown of Midnight by Sarah J. Maas. I've also discovered that I am in fact reading it in the incorrect order, because inside the book it tells you, it says the Throne of Glass series. The first book is The Assassin's Blade, and then Throne of Glass. But I'm pretty sure that I searched it and that's not the order that it was published in. Anyway, it's too late because I've already read Throne of Glass, and this is the book that I own. So I will be reading Assassin's Blade third, but I am 4 or 5 chapters into this book and I'm liking it. Left. I do believe I can finish this in 8 hours. It is just over 400 pages. I think it was 418 pages. Yeah. So I should be able to finish this. I have decided to annotate it. I'm just putting tabs and underlining because there was a funny scene. And yeah, I'm going to continue to read. I'm feeling tired, okay? I know I may not seem like it because I'm yappy, but my eyeballs are tired. If I laid down, I would fall asleep. So I'm sitting just because it's the most comfortable place, and I feel like it's the most likely place that I'm going to sit and read for a prolonged period of time, which is what I need to be doing right now. It's 12 p.m. It's 12:40 p.m. It's 1 p.m. I have 5 hours left. 5 hours and 20 minutes. I'm on page 86 of Crown of Midnight. I'm really hoping to finish this during this challenge, so let's get reading. I'm going to try to sit here and read for the next 5 hours. 257 of 402 pages. I'm so ready. Do you see this? Do you see this? Do you see this? This can't be real. $56, $57, $58. Do you see that? 24 hours. We did it. I'm so done. I'm so done. I got to page 305. I'm going to bed. I will talk to you whenever I finish this book. I will talk to you. We did it! We did the whole 24 hours. I didn't even sleep once. Absurd. Absolutely absurd. Hello, everybody. It is a week later. Let's just talk about these books, okay? So, the first book that I read and finished during this 24-hour challenge was The Same Backward as Forward. Now, this book is part of the Inheritance Games world. It comes after Glorious Rivals. Now, as you know, I started reading this book, The Purple Side, which is the side you were supposed to start with. And I'm thinking, I've read this before. So, it is in fact the exact same story as the first story in Glorious Rivals. Not Glorious Rivals, sorry, in Games Untold. So, Hannah's perspective in The Same Backward as Forward is the same as Hannah's perspective in Games Untold. So, if you've read Games Untold before and don't feel like reading that story again, skip the purple side and just go straight to this side. Now, I will say, I loved this purple side, just as I loved Hannah's point of view when I read Games Untold, because I just loved it. I bawled my eyes out. It was so good. I still felt all the emotions, and that's probably because I haven't read Games Untold since I think it was January last year, so a year ago. And I loved it. I was very excited to read Hannah's point of view, and I'm glad I did. Now, the second half is Toby Hawthorne's point of view through the exact same story. I didn't like his point of view as much as I liked Hannah's, even though I'd never read it before. We can kind of get an understanding of what he's thinking and what he's feeling through Hannah's point of view, but what I really did like about Toby's point of view was that we were able to see more of Hannah's emotional side because she didn't share it personally, because that's just the kind of person she was. Anyway, I rated this book 4 stars, and I think I'm going to keep it like that. That's how I like it. I actually just remembered that I did cry at the very end of this one, of Toby's POV. But I do highly recommend it if you enjoy the series. If you don't like the Game of Thrones, where did that come from? If you don't like the Inheritance Games series, don't read this book. Don't read any of them if you don't like it. Anyway, 4 stars. Very good. This one took me about 6 hours to read. So the second book that I read during this challenge was Behind Her Eyes by Sarah Pinborough. This is a thriller about this girl, Louise, went to a bar, kissed this guy. She hasn't kissed anyone in a while. And then she finds out that he is her new boss. and awkward. And then she's out and about one day, and his wife sees her and is like, "Hi, like, sorry I just bumped into you. We should get coffee." And neither of them acknowledge that they know each other. David's wife doesn't know that Louise is his secretary or whatever, right? So, for at least half of this book, there is no thriller, okay? We see some weird dynamics in, Adele is her name, David's wife. We see some weird dynamics in David and Adele's marriage, and then we see the relationship between David and Louise evolve, and the relationship between Adele and Louise, who still hasn't told either of them that she knows the other. And then Louise is struggling with night terrors, essentially, and Adele gives her this notebook that she used when she was younger to help with falling asleep and lucid dreaming and stuff. And then that is where the thriller aspect comes in. And then in that case, it's kind of, I want to say magical realism, because lucid dreaming is a real thing, right? But not in the sense that it is in this book. And so through these lucid dreams, we see some crazy things. That's all I'm going to say. It doesn't talk about the lucid dreams on the back, but this is super boring, this back. I don't think that the blurb is very good. But I enjoyed this book, okay? It wasn't scary. I thought that I was going to be disturbed in some way, just because the blurbs, is that what they're called? I don't think so. The quotes from people on this book seem like it should be more thrilling than it was for me. So Stephen King says you should read Behind Her Eyes. It's bloody brilliant. And then the New York Times book review says an eerie thriller, a terrifying mind game. Which it was a mind game, but I wouldn't say that it was terrifying. So it was good, it just wasn't thrilling in my point of view. But I would still recommend it if you're looking for something kinda crazy. And I made a prediction, if you remember that. It was wrong, but not 100%. I knew something like that was gonna happen. I'm rating this book a 3.75, just because it doesn't feel like a 4-star, but it was still good. The final book that I read in this 24-hour challenge was Crown of Midnight by Sarah J. Maas. Now, I didn't finish this in the 24-hour challenge. Also, hold up. This book took me about 8 hours, I think. I thought that I was going to finish this book and read some more, but this book really brought down my reading pace because the font was smaller, and I think that I was reading the same backward as forward quick because I've already read half of it and I was enjoying it a lot. Anyway, I read this book. I think by the time the challenge had finished, I had just over 100 pages left. This book is it's technically the third book in the Throne of Glass series, and I found out that I'm in the wrong reading order. I know that people on YouTube and BookTube recommend that you read Assassin's Blade before you read Throne of Glass, but I thought that that was just a recommendation, because I am still pretty sure, although I haven't double-checked, that Throne of Glass was published before Assassin's Blade, and that just makes more sense to me, because yes, Assassin's Blade is a prequel, but we read prequels after we read the first book anyway. This book is about Celaena Sardothien, who is the king's champion in the city, which essentially means that she is the king's assassin. But she's not wholly loyal to him, which obviously is not a very good plan and can be very dangerous. But this book involves so many secrets, so many different, not different plots, but different schemes in people's plans in the story. So there aren't different plots that we're following, but there are so many different aspects of this one major plot, this one major issue, and that's really all I can say. There's still a little bit of romance, okay? So that was nice. The end of this book, I wasn't so shocked, but I enjoyed the end of this book. If you know the end of this book, yeah. I feel like it was kind of obvious. I mean, this was very, very good. I am also rating this book 3.75 stars because, once again, really, really good. I really enjoyed it. It just doesn't feel like a 4-star book. It didn't really, really excite me. And I did feel super excited reading Thornglass. But I'm very excited to read Assassin's Blade. Now, a few pages into this book, I put a little sticky note because it was a super funny thing. And then I decided, oh, I'll annotate this. And then I ended up putting 3 more sticky tabs. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed watching me suffer. And I hope that you will suffer with me more in other videos. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And give me book and video recommendations in the comments because I always need them. Let me know what you want to see from me and I will give it to you. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you very soon.